The Wheel of Dharma begins with the Four Noble Truths, a series of profound insights that form the core of Buddhist teachings. These truths offer more than just a philosophical perspective on life, they serve as a mirror, reflecting our deepest struggles and guiding us toward a clearer understanding of ourselves and our place in the world. Each truth builds on the last, gradually leading us from a place of suffering to one of liberation and peace. In our modern world, with its unending distractions, demands, and digital noise, these ancient teachings feel like an essential refuge, a map that leads inward toward a more authentic and compassionate life. The first noble truth, called dukkha, is commonly translated as suffering, though this word doesn't capture its full meaning. Dukkha encompasses not only the obvious forms of suffering, pain, loss, grief, but also the subtle, underlying dissatisfaction we often feel, even in moments of happiness. Dukkha is the pervasive sense of incompleteness, the feeling that something is always slightly off or missing. It is the nagging dissatisfaction that lingers, even when life seems good on the surface. For instance, we may have a stable job, loving relationships, or a comfortable home, but still, we find ourselves restless, longing for something more. Buddhism teaches that this longing, this subtle discontent, is an intrinsic part of the human experience. The first noble truth isn't an invitation to despair but rather an invitation to acknowledge reality. In recognizing dukkha, we step onto a path of honesty. We admit that life, as beautiful as it is also filled with difficulties and that this is the nature of existence. By facing dukkha directly, we begin to dissolve our resistance to it, opening ourselves to a kind of healing that doesn't rely on denial or avoidance but on acceptance and presence. The second noble truth, samadhi, delves into the origins of suffering, inviting us to look beneath the surface and understand why we experience discontent. According to Buddhism, suffering arises not from external events or circumstances but from our own minds. Specifically, it stems from craving, attachment, and ignorance. Craving is the relentless desire for things to be different than they are, a longing for more pleasure, success, or recognition. It's the feeling that if only we had that job, that relationship, or that status, then we would be happy. Attachment, closely related to craving, is our tendency to cling to what we have or what we believe defines us. We attach to people, possessions, and even our own identities, fearing that without them, we would be incomplete. Lastly, ignorance blinds us to the reality of change and impermanence. We act as though life should be stable and predictable when, in fact, it is in constant flux. In today's fast-paced world, samadhi is intensified by a culture that equates happiness with accumulation and status. We are constantly bombarded with messages telling us to want more, be more, do more. But these pursuits often leave us feeling empty, as though we are trying to fill a bottomless well. The second noble truth asks us to question these conditioned beliefs and recognize that true peace cannot be found through external achievements or possessions. It is a profound realization, one that encourages us to turn inward and examine the source of our desires. The third noble truth, nirodha, offers a glimmer of hope, by suggesting that the end of suffering is possible. Buddhism teaches that by letting go of our cravings and attachments, we can find a state of inner peace and freedom. Nirodha is not about renouncing pleasure or suppressing desire but about loosening the grip of these desires on our minds. Imagine a life where you no longer feel the constant need to prove yourself, where you are free from the relentless pursuit of external validation. This freedom is at the heart of Nirodha. It teaches that true happiness lies not in adding more to our lives but in releasing the need for things to be a certain way. In a world that encourages accumulation, Nirodha's message is revolutionary. It suggests that peace is found not through gaining, but through letting go. This truth speaks to a kind of happiness that is not dependent on circumstances but is rooted in our own inner stability. It reminds us that while we cannot control the world around us, we can control how we relate to it. By releasing our attachments, we find a freedom that is not affected by the ups and downs of life. The fourth noble truth, Marga, introduces the Eightfold Path as a practical guide to ending suffering and finding peace. This path is not a set of rigid rules but a flexible, compassionate approach to life that cultivates mindfulness, ethical behavior, and wisdom. The Eightfold Path addresses three key areas: ethical conduct, mental discipline, and wisdom, each essential for a balanced, harmonious life. In a world where we are constantly pulled in different directions, the Eightfold Path serves as a grounding force, encouraging us to live with intention, integrity, and awareness. Following this path helps us develop the mental clarity and emotional resilience needed to navigate life's challenges with grace. Marga reminds us that true transformation is a gradual process, one that requires patience, dedication, and self-compassion. Each step we take on this path brings us closer to understanding ourselves and our connection to others. It is a journey of healing and awakening, one that leads us away from suffering and toward a life filled with purpose, peace, and fulfillment. With the grounding insights of the Four Noble Truths, we are now prepared to explore the Eightfold Path, a timeless, actionable guide for transforming suffering into wisdom, peace, and freedom. This path is not just a philosophy but a practical roadmap for living with authenticity and compassion in a world that is constantly changing. With a foundation in the Four Noble Truths, we now approach the Eightfold Path, a profound guide laid out by the Buddha as a means of transcending suffering and moving toward spiritual awakening. The Eightfold Path isn't a linear checklist but a deeply interconnected approach to living, where each part reinforces the others. It's a way to cultivate harmony between our thoughts, words, and actions, fostering a life grounded in awareness and compassion. In today's world, where stress, distraction, and disconnection are common, the Eightfold Path serves as a way to bring ourselves back to balance, to live in alignment with our true nature and find healing that feels both ancient and incredibly timely. The first aspect of the path is right understanding, which serves as the guiding light for all that follows. Right understanding means seeing life as it is, rather than as we wish it to be. It invites us to accept the reality of impermanence, suffering, and interconnectedness without resistance. In a world where we are often taught to see success and happiness as fixed states, right understanding encourages us to embrace the fluid, ever-changing nature of existence. This understanding isn't merely intellectual but a felt recognition that everything we experience, joy, pain, success, and loss, is part of a larger flow. By seeing clearly, we begin to let go of rigid expectations and attachments, finding freedom in acceptance. Right understanding is an antidote to the illusions we often hold about permanence and control. In this clarity, we start to glimpse the roots of our suffering and the pathways to peace, laying the foundation for a life that is more compassionate, less reactive, and deeply insightful. Right intention follows as the second part of the path, turning our understanding into purposeful action. Right intention is the commitment to cultivate thoughts and motivations that are rooted in kindness, renunciation, and non-violence. In our modern world, where individual gain is often valued over collective good, right intention challenges us to consider not only our actions but the motivations behind them. It encourages us to examine our desires, asking whether they serve our highest selves or merely feed fleeting satisfactions. This introspection is a form of inner purification. It allows us to transform intentions rooted in anger, greed, or attachment into those grounded in goodwill and understanding. Practicing right intention creates a mental landscape where compassion and ethical living can flourish, guiding us to act in ways that benefit both ourselves and those around us. Right intention is a lifelong practice of refining our purpose, of choosing to live not for transient pleasures but for the enduring qualities of peace, love, and generosity. Right speech, the third aspect of the path, is about mindful communication, both with ourselves and others. In a world dominated by social media, where words can reach thousands in seconds, right speech has perhaps never been more relevant. It involves speaking truthfully, kindly, and constructively, refraining from harmful, deceitful, or idle speech. Right speech encourages us to be conscious of the energy we put into the world with our words. It's not just about avoiding harmful language but about speaking with intention and authenticity. When we commit to right speech, we become aware of how often we may speak from habit or reaction rather than from a place of care and awareness. It asks us to examine our inner dialogue as well. Are we kind to ourselves? Do we speak to ourselves with compassion, or do we criticize and judge? Through right speech, we learn to cultivate respect in our words, creating a ripple effect of positivity that uplifts rather than diminishes. Practicing right speech is about becoming a voice of integrity and respect, not only in what we say but in how we make others feel. The fourth element, right action, concerns the ethical choices we make in our daily lives. In Buddhist teachings, right action is centered on refraining from actions that cause harm, such as violence, theft, or dishonesty. However, it also extends beyond the avoidance of harm. It includes positive actions that foster kindness, fairness, and respect for life. In modern terms, right action is about choosing actions that are aligned with our values. For example, choosing to act with honesty in a workplace that may reward shortcuts or deciding to support fair practices in industries that may prioritize profit over ethics. Right action asks us to live in harmony with our principles, knowing that our choices impact not only our own lives but the world around us. In a world filled with ethical gray areas, right action becomes a compass, guiding us toward decisions that respect the dignity of others and the natural world. By aligning our actions with compassion, we not only uplift ourselves but contribute to a more just and humane society. Right livelihood, the fifth part of the path, encourages us to pursue work that is ethical, meaningful, and in alignment with our values. Right livelihood teaches that our professional lives should not contradict our spiritual goals but should support them. This can be challenging in a modern world where work is often seen as a means to an end, and where financial success is prioritized over ethical considerations. Right livelihood invites us to reflect on the impact of our work. Does it contribute positively to society, or does it cause harm? For example, careers in fields such as medicine, education, or environmental conservation align well with right livelihood, as they serve others and contribute to the well-being of the community. However, even within any profession, we can practice right livelihood by approaching our work with integrity and respect for all beings. This element of the path challenges us to find a balance where our work not only sustains us financially but also fulfills us spiritually, allowing us to live in greater harmony with our core values. Right effort, the sixth element, speaks to the mental energy we invest in fostering positive qualities and releasing negative ones. Right effort is about sustaining a gentle but persistent commitment to personal growth. In a culture that often promotes instant gratification and rapid progress, right effort teaches us to approach self-improvement with patience and balance. It's the disciplined effort to cultivate states of mind such as kindness, patience, and equanimity while letting go of unwholesome states like anger, jealousy, and greed. Right effort is about creating the conditions for positive transformation without forcing or rushing the process. It invites us to understand that real change happens gradually, that growth is a journey rather than a destination. Practicing right effort means developing the resilience to face our challenges with a steady mind, to persist in our path without being deterred by setbacks. It's a commitment to nurturing a mind that is healthy, balanced, and open. Right mindfulness, the seventh part of the path, is the practice of present moment awareness. Mindfulness is a profound state of being fully engaged in the here and now, observing thoughts, emotions, and sensations without attachment or aversion. In our modern lives, where multitasking and constant distraction are the norm, mindfulness offers a radical alternative, the possibility of being fully awake in each moment. Right mindfulness allows us to observe our inner and outer experiences with clarity and non-judgment, creating a spaciousness that lets us respond rather than react. Through mindfulness, we see the patterns in our thoughts and behavior, gaining insights into the causes of our suffering and our joy. Right mindfulness helps us cultivate a mind that is calm and receptive, one that can hold both the joys and sorrows of life with equanimity. This practice isn't confined to meditation, it's about bringing awareness into every aspect of our lives, from our relationships to our work to our everyday tasks. Right mindfulness transforms ordinary moments into opportunities for insight and peace. The final aspect, right concentration, completes the Eightfold Path by focusing the mind deeply and purposefully. Right concentration involves the practice of single-pointed focus, often cultivated through meditation. In our busy world, where attention is fragmented by endless distractions, right concentration offers us a path back to our center. This focused awareness allows the mind to settle into a state of calm and clarity, revealing insights that are inaccessible to a distracted mind. Through concentration, we are able to move beyond surface-level awareness and access the depths of our consciousness. In this state of deep focus, we gain a direct experience of reality, seeing life's truths in a way that is transformative and healing. Right concentration isn't about shutting out the world but about tuning into it with complete presence. It allows us to bring all parts of ourselves, our attention, our energy, our intentions, into alignment, experiencing a state of unity that is both peaceful and insightful. As we develop right concentration, we become more capable of approaching life with a clear mind and an open heart, prepared to meet each moment with compassion and wisdom. Taken together, the Eightfold Path offers a way of life that harmonizes thought, speech, action, and purpose. Each step on the path supports the others, creating a holistic approach to living that transforms suffering into growth, insight, and compassion. As we walk this path, we discover that true healing isn't about escaping pain but about transforming it into wisdom. The Eightfold Path guides us toward a life that is peaceful, purposeful, and deeply connected, providing a timeless framework for modern healing and spiritual fulfillment. As we come to the end of this exploration of the Wheel of Dharma, let's reflect on the journey we've taken through these teachings and the relevance they hold for us today. Buddhism offers a profound invitation to turn inward, to see our lives not as isolated fragments, but as part of a larger tapestry of interconnected experiences. Through the Four Noble Truths, we are encouraged to look honestly at the realities of life, the unavoidable presence of suffering, the roots of our cravings and attachments, and the possibility of liberation through letting go. The Four Noble Truths do not offer a quick fix or an escape, but a realistic understanding of human experience, one that can open the door to healing in a way that few modern approaches can provide. The Eightfold Path then guides us on how to walk that door toward inner peace, inviting us to live with intention, compassion, and mindfulness. Each step of the Eightfold Path, right understanding, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration, serves as a compass that realigns us with our true nature. In a world that often encourages superficial achievement and material success, the Eightfold Path asks us to cultivate qualities that deepen our sense of connection, purpose, and joy. It provides a framework not only for ethical living but for an approach to life that is rooted in authenticity and resilience. By engaging with each of these principles, we begin to cultivate a life that reflects our highest values and aspirations. One of the remarkable aspects of the Wheel of Dharma is its timeless relevance. While Buddhism originated over 2,500 years ago, its teachings address universal aspects of the human experience that remain as relevant now as they were then. Whether it's the feeling of dissatisfaction that the Buddha described as dukkha or the drive to find lasting happiness through material means, we find ourselves grappling with the same questions. The Wheel of Dharma doesn't seek to offer us solutions to every problem but rather a way to understand and approach life's challenges with greater wisdom and compassion. As we integrate these teachings into our daily lives, it's important to remember that the path of inner growth is not linear, it's filled with progress and setbacks, moments of clarity and times of confusion. The Eightfold Path encourages a patient, compassionate approach to this journey. Right effort reminds us that transformation doesn't happen overnight, and right mindfulness teaches us that every moment is an opportunity for growth, whether joyful or difficult. The path is about cultivating a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world, a journey that continues throughout our lives. By grounding ourselves in the wisdom of the Dharma, we build resilience to face life's uncertainties, finding strength not in control but in acceptance and understanding. Ultimately, the Wheel of Dharma invites us to transform our suffering into a path of healing, insight, and liberation. It encourages us to see that true happiness isn't found by accumulating more but by letting go of what no longer serves us. In practicing the Eightfold Path, we align our lives with a higher purpose, moving beyond the cycle of temporary pleasures and fleeting achievements toward a life that is filled with genuine peace, compassion, and joy. The teachings of the Buddha remind us that healing is always possible, that every step we take on this path brings us closer to a sense of wholeness and belonging that transcends the ups and downs of daily life. In closing, let's reflect on the lasting impact these teachings can have on us. Imagine a world where more people live in alignment with the principles of the Eightfold Path, a world where compassion, mindfulness, and understanding guide our actions. Each one of us has the ability to contribute to this vision by embodying these teachings in our own lives. The Wheel of Dharma teaches us that change begins from within, that by transforming our own minds and hearts, we contribute to the transformation of the world. May these teachings inspire us to live with courage, integrity, and love, allowing the wisdom of the Dharma to illuminate our path forward.